Um, we discuss some of the pillars, and we discussed what Islam and Iman is. Um, One way we can look at it, Islam is essentially, you can look at the building. Iman is what's inside. Islam is what we have been instructed to do, and Iman is how we apply it. Um, as believers, as Muslims, we're instructed to share the message of Allah, but Iman is something that each of us individually we have to work on. One of the Sahabi, radiallahu anhum, informed another Sahabi. He said, "Go and tell the people about God. Tell them about God first. Once they accept, then we can start to tell them more about what it is that they need to do." So we always have to work on the foundation. We have to work on understanding our Creator, understanding our God, understanding the nature of our belief, and then we can start applying. Because if we try to apply blindly without having a solid foundation, then eventually, the walls will cave in. We'll start giving up. We mentioned about the five pillars of Islam. We have the Shahada, which is our declaration of faith. So this is a fundamental a pillar. This is something that's very important. It's not something that you cannot just go into practicing Islam. You have to establish your Shahada. You have to bear witness that there is no God except one God, and that the Prophet, peace be upon him, as the last and final messenger. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the last and final messenger. From there, we have the Salah, which is our connection. It's our link with our Creator. It's our 5 daily prayers, our 5 obligatory prayers. Then we also have Siyam, which is fasting, the month of Ramadan. Zakat, which is obligatory upon those who have the means to do so. And Hajj, which is also obligatory upon those who have the means to do so. Now, interestingly enough, we have to understand that as there's a difference between being a believer and one who practices. So many times we think that if we do not practice, that takes us out of the fold, and that's not the case. We have to have the belief, and we need to practice, but we don't need to lose hope in others when we don't see them practicing. That doesn't mean that they're disbelievers. It just means that they have weak faith. So we need to try to work with them in order to get them back to practicing. Same thing with Salah, with Siyam, Zakat, Hajj. But we need to understand that it's a serious issue. There is a punishment, and there is a lot of things that will affect you if you do not treat them. If you don't take them seriously. Salah is one of the first of all, it's not only that it's not only that it's a commandment that we need to do in order to maintain our relationship with God, but it's also something that is said to save us from the fire. And if we don't do it, then it will be something very serious for us on the Day of Judgment. Same thing with Siyam. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we see, He has mercy with us. With the Siyam, there are He's merciful. If there are times that someone cannot fast and there are certain circumstances, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to find means in order to fulfill and still get the reward, but through a different means. And the same thing with zakat. Zakat, if we do not have zakat, we will see a lot of the injustice that we can see in certain parts of the world. You have a huge wealth gap where you have people that are very wealthy and those that are very poor. Zakat is a mercy for all of mankind. If everyone were to take the zakat seriously, then there would be no hunger, there would be no starvation, there would be no oppression on the earth. Same thing with Hajj. Hajj is something that is a huge, it's something major. If you can afford it, it's something you should do. It's going to visit the roots of our religion, to go visit the place where the Prophet resided, and refreshing and rejuvenating our faith is something that's very beneficial for us, and we should all take these pillars. We should all take these pillars seriously, and we should revisit them. It's not just because we know them, then that's it. Now let's keep moving. No, you should always go back. Islam it's a wealth of knowledge, and we can always learn something new once we go back and revisit even the most basic principles and pillars of our faith. So thank you for joining us, and